Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Aaron20, and I'm bringing you guys my ICBA Week 9 game versus OmegaJolteon coach of the Chicago Carracostas. Now, before we get into this, a couple things. One, this game ended up not actually mattering for anything. Apparently, 5 teams make playoffs. I was mistaken. I could have lost this. Well, I could lose this game, and I could lose my game versus Hispanic, which, spoiler, I will get into in a moment. We could literally lose both of those games and still make playoffs as the last seed, guaranteed, because the best next person up would be OmegaJolteon, who could at best go like 3-7. If not, it was someone else, but point is the record would be 3-7. So next up, about going 5-5, we're guaranteed actually 6-4. This is because Hispanic ended up actually forfeiting. I will go into a little bit more at the end what the plan is for that game, as I do have something in mind for next week, so you guys aren't going to be without a video. Don't worry at all. But we are here, we are ready for playoffs. We are just playing through one last game that actually matters, that I thought at the time would have been the game that clinched me, because I didn't learn until after I played this game that it mattered. So I actually went like really try hard with my prep, but at the same time I brought a little bit of stunt. I think I actually brought a lot more flash than I have in a while, not gonna lie, and I wanna thank Splurge for that personally. I'll get into the set when it comes to it, but for now I'm not gonna spoil any of my team. Besides 6 mods you see on screen, that's as much as you guys see of the team, because there's a very, very high chance I could be playing Omega at playoffs. Hell, I could potentially even play Omega first game in playoffs for our side. It just depends on how this game goes for us, and it also depends on a couple other games, such as a couple of Tom's games and a couple of Matt's games. We could literally end up as first seed or fifth seed. It's so close, guys. You don't even know. So as of right now, I think pretty much everyone in the group is 5-3 or 6-2 in terms of the playoff group, if I'm not mistaken. Going into week 8, from week 8 games, everyone is like 6-2 or 5-3. There might be a 4-4 here, but I don't think there was. I think everyone was X-3 or X-2. Point being, though, is that, yeah, because everyone was X-3 at minimum. So because of this, like literally anyone, depending on these week 9 games, could be first or could be last. And it depends on these games in week 10. So yeah, I could very well play Omega first round. I could very well get a first round bye. Hell, I could get a bye until like end of this group of playoffs, depending on how well I do. And depending on how poor other people such as Matt do, I really need Matt to lose to do that. But regardless though, I'll go to Omega's team at least. You guys know what Omega has on his roster, because obviously if you guys don't follow already, which you definitely should, you won't know Omega's team. So in addition to Omega, you guys should all check out all the links to the coaches in the description below. But without further ado, let me get into Omega's roster that he brought at least to this game. So Omega brought a Z offensive Bomb Snow, he brought a Z offense Greninja, Z offense Garchomp, Breloom, Seismitoad, and Togekiss. So I was a little bit surprised actually. I thought Arcanine would come as a backup check to Ferrothorn. I didn't really see any reason for it not to come, not gonna lie. Also, Mega Metagross with like Autotomize really scared me, because Autotomize 3 attacks is a lot to my team. And while, for example, Ridiculous can definitely chew a hit, he does have things like Greninja, and he even has Z Garchomp that could potentially be a nuke to my Ridiculous. So I thought that alone warranted a Mega Metagross to come at the very least, and then that plus Arcanine over, let's say, a Abomasnow and maybe Breloom. I don't know. Breloom kind of is a matchup, but not really. I feel like Arcanine with like Overheat would have been a much better option. So that's really all I have to say about Omega's team. Without further ado, though, let's get right into the game. Cut out the snap. So as you can see on the screen, of course, my lead option here is going to be Ferrothorn. I feel like no matter what he leads off with, he really doesn't have a good counter for it in general. As with my Ferrothorn set, we even counter his Breloom, as you'll see later on in the game. For now, though, he's going to lead off with Seismitoad. That is perfectly fine. I anticipated it was going to be either this or Garchomp, and then we're going to use Rocker. This makes a lot more sense, though, because it makes more sense for Omega to have a defensive Rocker that'll be around. As my team is fairly rock weak, I'll give it that. Not the best at handling them. Regardless, he's going to get up his rocks, and I decided that I'm going to get up my spikes, because I feel like my spikes are a lot more useful this game. And while Togetic can just come in and defog, I felt like the spikes were very nice at pressuring things like Garchomp, Seismitoad, Breloom, etc. And I just needed up one hazard in general to break this Breloom Sash. And luckily, we end up actually breaking the Breloom Sash, because he decides to go hard into Breloom. Now, versus any normal Ferrothorn, that would have been the play, but not versus my Ferrothorn, and you'll see why in a second. So you get up our Stealth Rocks, of course, and my opponent actually decides he's going to click SD here. Now, had he clicked a Fighting type move, we were actually Chople Berry Ferrothorn this week. And the Chople Berry was designed so that even if he clicked like Sub Punch, or just Focus Punch in general, I should say, and somehow landed it, we're guaranteed to live the hit. Point being, any fighting move, most likely going to be Drain Punch or Mach Punch in general, but point being, we did live any fighting move, and we were able to OHKO him with Aerial Ace in return. So because of this, we're already at a really nice advantage because Ferrothorn is now in a position where nothing besides like Togekiss really does anything to it, and Togekiss can really only hit it with like Fire Blast or Flamethrower or Air Slash. And everything else on my opponent's roster really can't touch this thing. His next best mom would be like Fire Fang Garchomp, which takes a lot of damage and doesn't even OHKO with Fire Fang. So that's already a really nice advantage for us, having Ferrothorn that's going to live really long. Also, seeing that he didn't click Defog with his Togekiss when he locked me into Aerial Ace was actually really weird. I didn't really question it at the time, but it made me sort of question a couple turns later if he actually even has Defog. In fact, it was more so the next time he brought it in. But regardless, though, I don't think that he has Defog in general. So I'm actually going to go hard into Reuniclus and take whatever hit this Seismitoad wants to do. I figured I could Spike Stack versus him later on. And he decides to go for knockoff here, which is perfectly fine. I figured this is a prime setup opportunity for me, as Breloom's gone, so it can't really put me to sleep. Though Breloom, to be fair, would have been a good mon to set up on in terms of it not really being able to touch me. But I don't need to worry about Spore anymore. I can't get Toxic Assault because I'm Magic Guard. So I'm just going to click Calm Mind. His team really doesn't break this thing that well at all either. In fact, his team is really built poorly against mine, in all honesty. He's going to click Roost here, however, which is perfectly fine. It's going to help him restore some HP after the hazards. This turn, though, again, it really made me question, does he actually have the Defog? And the answer I found out later on was actually no. I went through his whole moveset and I realized he couldn't fit Defog on his moveset. But that explains these plays right here, like clicking Encore. However, sadly for him, he actually ended up Encoring me into, I believe it was Psychic. Yep, Psychic. And that ends up killing off his Togekiss, which is really weird to me that he didn't try and play around this. He just Encored me into Psychic of all things. Because I can play around his team so easily being locked into Psychic. Like, he brings in Greninja, sure, but I can get a free hard swap here. It really doesn't matter. I lost my Colbur Berry already, so I'm not exactly going to be staying in on Greninja. So I'm actually going to hard swap here, and I'm going to go into Stall Queen, because Stall Queen is effectively useless in this match at this point, because he didn't bring the Mega Metagross, and I can handle Garchomp really well. No matter what spread it is, I have ways around Garchomp. In hindsight, I probably should have thought this through a little bit more, because Scarf Garchomp still does a lot to me, but in my head, I was thinking I still handle Garchomp really well. So that's why I made the switch. Now I decided that I'm going to try and get my regen boost up because I actually did a lot more than I thought. And I'm going to go into Barbara our Ferrothorn. Dark Pulse Greninja isn't doing a lot, and I figured I can set up spikes versus this thing. In hindsight, I should have done this first instead of bringing in Stall Queen. But I don't mind regardless. He has now lost all of his spike immunity. He's lost all his hazard removal options. And he's going to bring in his Seismitoad here. My guess is he was probably trying to sack the Seismitoad. I'm not really sure what he was doing with this, to be honest. But it does allow me for a free spike, so I'm going to take it. So he is now going to be going for Earthquake. He's probably trying to kill me off. In my opinion, he probably doesn't have anything to actually touch me, and this is his best bet. Doing 40 damage to me with Earthquake. Or staying with Greninja, risking me having a Grass type move and sacking Greninja because he clicked Dark Pulse again and still did not kill. So I've now gotten up all the spikes that I need. Omega's team is essentially lost at this point. I really don't see any option for him to actually win. I'm going to bring in Stall Queen here, because even after Earthquake, for example, I'm still perfectly fine to take on his team 1v1. I figure that worst comes to worst, even if he gets like a crit or like 2 really good rolls that I didn't expect, I am perfectly fine with sacking this thing because it really doesn't make a difference in my endgame, in my opinion. So he's going to bring in Einherja here, which is his Abomasnow. Now the Abomasnow here is actually a little bit scary, because Abomasnow actually, and I didn't realize this, but Abomasnow could potentially end up cleaning my team up coverage-wise. And I sort of overlooked it at the time, but I really shouldn't have, because as you can see here, I got off the Wish. That's my way of getting myself back up to potentially take hits from the rest of his team. And I'm going to withdraw here, and I'm going to go hard into Cells at Work. I figured the Cells at Work could definitely take any hit from the Abomasnow, and I completely forgot that Abomasnow is just as good physical as it is special. I was thinking it was going to be special because of things like Blizzard, for example, and I completely forgot it has the same attack stat. So me going from Stall Queen to Cells at Work essentially made my Reuniclus useless. 100% O-code right on the spot. I should have stayed in with Stall Queen and clicked Toxic, because then had I sacked it to Woodhammer, he would have killed himself off from Toxic damage. So regardless here, I'm going to go into Stall Queen again. I figured that I'm going to try and get him to kill himself off, and I'm going to actually sack this thing. But sadly, he clicks the Z move. I believe that's Fightinium Z if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this was Z. I believe it was Z Superpower if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, it is a fighting type Z move. I think it was superpower. I genuinely don't know. But it ends up actually doing a ton of damage, claiming a free Oko versus my Mola. And I'm already thinking to myself, wow, I let an Obama of all things get 2 kills. This thing still checks my Zygarde. How much damage does this do to my Tapu Koko with Ice Shard? Because if it Okos my Tapu Koko, I have lost this game to Obama of all mons. And luckily, as you'll see here, at most with his spread, because he is a fighting type Z move, at most he can be doing half to me with Ice Shard. Had he been like Life Orb, for example, and he crit, he would have OK'd me right on the spot and I would have lost the entire game. But thankfully, he was Z move, because this allows me to now U-turn and gain some nice momentum on my opponent. And with this momentum, I am going to take advantage of Omega's team. There is only one mon that I want to bring in at this point, and that's going to be Burned by Clef, our Mega Beedrill. Because regardless of what Omega brings in, Mega Beedrill really doesn't have a lot of useless match left in the game, because Togekiss is gone, and he didn't keep Breloom around long at all either. So he's going to bring in Artemia here, his Garchomp. And because Mega Beedrill is so expendable at this point in the game, I'm going to sack, because me sacking Mega Beedrill to what I am guessing at this point is a Scarf Garchomp. I figured it was either Scarf or it's Berry. And I'm going to find out right here if it's Scarf or Berry, because either I sack him at Mega Beedrill to Earthquake or Dragon move, he clicks Earthquake here, or I get some nice chip and put it in range to where his Berry won't even matter versus my Tapu Koko, and I can just go hard into, let's say, Zygarde, and then clean up with Tapu Koko. So he proves to be Scarfed, and I'm going to bring in Colgate here, our Zygarde. Because with Colgate here, he is locked into Earthquake. At best, he is 3KOing us. And we have the Berry luckily on our side. So he's going to have to withdraw here. He's going to have to click Outrage or Dragon Claw later on, because that's his only way of actually touching us and doing any remote damage. He's going to bring in Heimdall here, his Seismitoad, which is perfectly fine because Colgate is going to be delivering the finest of Dragon Dances, cleaning through Omega's team just like Colgate would clean through your teeth. And we're going to boost up our speed to +1. And just click 1,000 Arrows, because no matter what, we live any one hit from the Garchomp. Even if it's clicking Scarf Outrage, we do live the hit and the Berry will pop. So because of this, I am in a perfect position to just claim a win this game. He's going to bring in Artemia here, of course, perfectly fine by me. I have already gotten a ton of damage off with the spikes and the rocks. 1,000 Arrows will guarantee claim a kill, and he's going to click Dragon Claw here, perfectly fine. I really don't have a reason to be afraid of this. As you'll see, it does about half. I'm going to click 1,000 Arrows here and say goodbye to Artemia, his Garchomp. Now all that Omega has left is just one mon, and this one mon could have made such a difference, because Omega here brings in his Greninja at this point in the game, aka Kono Kikyo, and because Omega had Water Shuriken on his spread, I completely overlooked this, but I'm so thankful for my Berry this week, because had I not brought the 50% Berry to this game, Omega would have actually ended up making this game a 0-0 win for himself. Because as you'll see here, my Berry does pop. Had my Berry not popped, and he got the 5 hits off just like he did, so shoutouts to Omega for being a lucky son of a bitch. Had he not gotten that off though, had I not gotten that Berry off though, even with the 2 or 3 hits, he would have guaranteed OK'd me. As you'll see, I lived in 14 even after the Berry boost, and he takes the Life Orb damage because he is Life Orb Greninja. So because of this, he would have claimed the kill on Tapu Koko, guaranteed. I believe with Water Shuriken, I believe it picked up a kill at that point. And he would have also ended up killing off, I believe my Ferrothorn was the last mon left. I genuinely can't remember at this point. But he would have guaranteed claimed the kill versus my last mon left. And that would have been game. So, shout out to Omega, of course. Very, very fun game. I really enjoyed playing you. Hopefully we can play again in playoffs and have as fun of a game. I'll bring some spikes again because it's my 100% win con versus you. As every time I brought spikes, I've beaten you, and every time I haven't, I've only beaten you once. So you can look forward to that. The rest of you fans, you can look forward to us playing next week. We're going to be playing Perfecte Blue, coach of the San Diego State Azales. Yes, I know that I realized that Spanik was supposed to be our opponent, but Blue actually offered to do us a mock. 15 minutes later, Spanik ended up forfeiting. That's the forfeit I mentioned earlier in the video. And Blue agreed that since I helped him gen and learn how to gen and all that, that the least he could do is do the mock battle for me on Wi-Fi. So I will have something to upload for next week's ICBA game. So, question of the day, let me know down below, do you guys want to see live comms for playoffs, or do you want to see post comms? Because we're at that point in the season where everything at the very least can change, because obviously playoffs is a whole different field. And you guys have seen my PGL live comms, you've seen my IBA stream live comms that I've uploaded a couple times to the channel, and a couple times on Twitch, of course I have done them. In fact, I've done them all season on Twitch. So you guys have seen my live comm perspective. You've also seen my post comm, obviously, through the entire ICBA season. What do you guys want to see for playoffs? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will make sure to respond, whether it's to this question or just to anything else you guys comment. I'll make sure to let you guys know my thoughts or just have a conversation with you guys. Until then, though, I will see you guys later. Peace out.